Hello everyone and welcome to Brave Souls Rewind, the show where I 200 older characters so you don't have to. Today I'll be covering a current character that's for sale, and one who has kind of a cult following in my channel, the swimsuit version of Nemu. And who knows, if you like what you see, maybe you may want to buy this character since she's currently not available to summon. You're welcome, K-Lab. Now starting things off, we have the normal attack damage build, and Nemu has a pretty decent attack. By today's standards, it's not exactly high, but 667 is not a bad number, plus she's got a plus 30 bruiser. This resulted in her dealing some significant damage. The smaller enemies went down really quickly, though some of the heftier enemies did take a few more hits, mostly because I had to break guards. Still, they really weren't a problem, and the fact that she was dealing all this damage with an inflatable shark just made it that much better. Another thing I like about this build is that even though you're meleeing up close, you really don't have to concern yourself that much with damage. She does have a heal move after all, and her link lets her get some health back after every area. Overall, this was a really fun build, and one that is definitely viable. Next up was a strong attack damage build, and while she doesn't have that high of an SP, she does have a plus 40 berserker, so it certainly helps. Now unlike most characters, she has a heal move, and while it does do damage, it doesn't come back that quickly, so you can really only use it every 30 seconds. This would be a problem if it wasn't for the fact that her normal attack is still usable under this build. Her attack may not be as high, but she still has that plus 30 bruiser, and it's more than enough to clear the area if she doesn't have any strong attacks to use. As for the actual strong attacks, they are enough to take out a lot of the enemies. Most of them go down in one hit, though some of the bigger ones take a little bit more, because again, the guard. Under this build, if you use it, I would also recommend using your strong attack 2 as frequently as possible. Even if you don't need to heal, it's still a damaging move, and it doesn't really feel like that much of a waste because she has a healing link as well. Once it's all said and done, I still think this build is viable, though not quite as much as the last one. Next up is a strong attack recharge build, and when I first set this up, I was actually afraid her strong attacks weren't going to do that much damage. As I mentioned, she doesn't have that high of an SP, and a plus 40 berserker is okay, but it really will only get you so far. To my surprise though, this build is even better than the last one. The strong attacks were still enough to take care of the small enemies in one shot, and the heavier enemies weren't going down in one shot anyway, so it's not like you lost anything. Also, much like the last build, the normal attacks are still decent, even though you don't use them as much because your strong attacks come back quicker. Still, she does have a strong attack too that's a heal move, so you will have to rely on them. In the end though, this build is still viable, and just a step behind the normal attack damage build if you ask me. Finally, we have the hybrid build, and let me tell you, this build is unbelievable. Your normal attacks do a lot of damage, and thanks to the increase of both SP and attack, so do the strong attacks, even though you don't use them as frequently as the last build. This is by far the best and the most fun out of the 4 builds, and since she's constantly healing herself, it doesn't really matter if your stamina is low, whether it starts off that way, or if an enemy brings you down. I would actually go as far as to say that you could use this build in co-op inheritance zones or droplet zones, since you'd not only be able to heal the entire party, but also deal a significant amount of damage yourself. So yeah, Nemu is definitely still viable. I will say that her stats are a bit on the low side, especially in comparison to some of the characters we're getting now, but with any luck they'll resurrect her next year, and you can bet I'll do a rewind on her again then.
あちきらの遊びに付き合ってもらおうか。これでどうだい?
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know what other characters you want to see in a rewind.